Hey guys, my name is Loco Doco, the better looking host of Listen Loco, and you're watching Thorin's YouTube channel.
By the way, I want to ask you about some of the mids of this era, because like I said, there's quite an interesting crop of people. So, what would you say about Quid? Obviously, no one, like, it might be awkward now, because for all we know, he's going to replace you in Team Liquid, but we'll put that to one side. What did you think about Quid when he was 100 Thieves mid laner?
No, definitely just insanely good. Like, I mean, I think he has a perceptive of it. But I think he's like kind of a choker. But like, when it comes to the non-big matches, I think he tends to be like just an insane player. I think this year, like, if you think back to the winter split, the winter split is what it's called. I think he was the top 2 mid. Like, honestly, maybe the best mid that split. And then, like, I think this last split, he was the best mid. And he was probably just on a little bit of weaker team. So I have no qualms with like Quid potentially going to Team Liquid. I don't know like how true that is. I have a lot of respect for Quid. I said in an interview before, but like if anyone were to go Team Liquid, I'm happy it's Quid rather than just some like random shitter that I think I'm still better than. Like I can't be salty that like one of the best mids in the past 2 years is going to a top team.
All right, then similar question. What about Quad, the FlyQuest mid laner?
I definitely have a much lesser.
You got beef with him? Is there a reason you got beef?
No beef. Just like I just don't think he's as good.
Okay.
And I just think he just ended up being on an insanely good team. Like, I think Buppo's over the past years been like minimum a top 2 top laner. Same thing with Inspired, and then like his balling is also in minimum top 2 or minimum top 2, and I think he just ended up on an insanely good team. I think he's still a decent player, but I think he's also you put him in the position like Quid's in, where he's like on a middle pack team or like on a Shopify. I don't think anyone's singing his praises as much as they are.
And then what about, I get that, like, he already was in NA for the year at that time, and I was in Europe. But what about Jojo when he used to play on Cloud9? What do you think of Jojo?
I think it's weird. I think his fingers in his lane are genuinely top tier. But I can still see the disconnect when it comes to mid game. It's like in laning phase and everything. I genuinely think he's like comparable to like the Eastern mid laners. And he puts a ton of pressure on you. Literally just a psychopath in lane, and it would like, even if you checkmate him, he would just like finger check you out of it sometimes. But then, when it comes to mid game, he'll have like oopsies and he'll kind of just like run it down, or he'll be in the wrong spot at the wrong time. So it's kind of a polarizing player to me. Like at some points I think he's just insane. Other points I'm like, I feel like he could be better.
All right, here's the thing. I'm saying this. Thorin's saying this, not APA, but you just give me your thoughts on what I'm about to say. This is a BM way to ask it. But like low key, I do actually think, again, I'm not an expert, so I'm saying all this just to set up the straight fire comment. Low key, here's the problem I've always had with Jojo, mate. I've always felt like, I know what you mean, his hands seem really fucking good. Like, that's why I always say to me he's like the double lift of mid lane. But I also think he's the double lift of mid lane in the sense that, like, I get the vibe someone else on the team sort of like pilots him around the map. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it is Ilyoya or if in the past it was Inspired or whatever. Like, I just feel like I've noticed when he played with those players, magically looked like twice as good on the map as when he just didn't play with them. Like when he played with Blabber, it looked like both of them were like, well, shit, what do we do now? You know what I mean? They both had mad hands, I'll give them that. But is that 2BM? Am I going too far?
No, I think that that can be a pretty accurate thing. Inspired's definitely a person who, like, he's definitely the leader of any team he goes to. Like, there's no other way to put it. And when he was on EG with Jojo, they both looked insane. They were, some people were saying they're, top half mid jungle in the tournament compared to the Eastern teams. And then, he goes to CNN. He looks like, of course, that's like a super team, and like I'm sure there was a whole bunch of drama with them on the like inside. But like, I think it's true. Like he didn't look all that he was like cracked up to be, and then he goes to Europe, and all of a sudden again he's performing well. So I think he's definitely one of those players that might just need a little bit of direction, but he has like everything else you would need of a player.
Right, what do you think about the Worlds of 2024? Because that's obviously the one where, at the end, you guys had the match against FlyQuest. Whoever won that game was going to get to go to the playoffs and have all the bragging rights, and we're the only Western team. And people forget, like, that wasn't some stomp. Like, that was even a close series event, in which it was really close, actually. It was right. It was one of those games decided by the middle. They were like all those fucking matches were against that team that year. And in general, I look at that run and, like, look, beyond, I don't know, get a slightly better. Like, you guys almost did everything you could. You almost did win that match. You almost did get the top 8. How do you evaluate that Worlds?
I think last year's Worlds was like honestly the what if Worlds. Like if you look back at all of our matches, every single game, like when we placed LNG or Weibo or like anyone else, every single series like that we lost was just like a what if series. Like there was a Cinder game, I think it was versus Weibo if I recall correctly.
You were killing it, mate.
Where I was like smurfing and then I just fucking int. And then there's a Nico game, I think it's versus LNG, where I fucking flash into a wall on like an important dragon team fight, but I just had like an insane flank, and if I land that flank, we probably get the dragon, we win the team fight, probably win the game. And the same thing with the FlyQuest series. I think it was game 1, like we were pretty decisively winning, and we ended up not being able to win the game. And then even the game 3, like everyone's gonna remember the shit Clyde pick and blah blah blah. If you go back and watch the mid 2v2, it's literally a 1 auto attack difference. 1 auto attack difference, in my opinion, decided the game. Because I think if me and UmTi somehow squeezed in an extra auto attack, or maybe FlyQuest players played a little bit worse, and we win that 2v2, we double kill them, I think we proceed to like smash the game. So like, I think of that Worlds as literally just like a what if Worlds. Like, what if I played 5% better, and like just one of those games, I was 5% better player. We can probably advance to quarters, and who knows what's going to happen in quarters.
Because there's something I want to ask you, actually. I feel like people blame you specifically for that World because they're remembering in their brain. Their brain does the snapshot of the int, right? But I was going to ask the same thing, especially that Syndra game against Xiao. Bro, you were actually smashing that one. Like, I think in general, aside from the ints, that sounds like a joke, but aside from you were actually having a pretty good fucking Worlds, right?
Yeah, I would think like I was like winning most of the lanes. I was, it literally just like, I think just like the clutch factor. I didn't have the clutch factor that Worlds. And if I had the clutch factor, which I think I had like in previous tournaments, like I genuinely think we would have won a lot of those matches and been like touted as such an insane. Like I think that was the year NA, like last year in my opinion, was the year that NA, and honestly I think G2 last year was pretty good too with Mickey. Whereas like all 3 of us teams could have made like decent runs into quarters and even semis, and then there was just like G2 got a pretty hard run. They got matched against BOG, and then we had to like team kill ourselves against FlyQuest.
Right. What about coming into this year? Right. I have a question that goes like this. I'll make it open ended. This year, people will forget. It'll be one of those memes of like, holy shit, was that this year? But things have changed so much this year. People forget that the beginning of this year, the entire narrative around Team Liquid was everyone on the internet with a keyboard just hating on UmTi. Just like, he's the reason why they lost all the games. He's not good enough. Even though, by the way, he was at the team the year before and everyone was fine with him. Everyone was like, he's doing his job, Did something change with UmTi in whatever context? Do you think he had some sort of issue this year?
I think he was. There's no other way to put it. He was inconsistent. So like, the amount of flame he got wasn't warranted, but like, some flame probably was. But I think, that's just what happens with teams and players. Like, everyone just chooses one person to be the scapegoat.
Yeah.
And like, for that split and that like bit of the year, that was who everyone chose. Like, everyone chose to be the scapegoat. It's like anytime he would make a mistake, he'd be like, oh, fucking this guy again, this guy doing this fucked up shit again. And then, if like, for example, Jan would make a stupid mistake, I would be like, oh, it's just Jan. Like, Jan won't do that again. So like, he did have some like personal issues, like personal family health issues come up, which in my opinion is like probably why a lot of his like inconsistency came into, because, it's hard to like focus on League when you have health issues in your family. Which is of course why he stepped down as well. But then, like, I definitely think he just ended up getting scapegoated. And honestly, like, our year is pretty shit, but I think that's even what's happening to like me and Impact now, because like I still consider Impact like the top lane GOAT. but you like go on like the Team Liquid Reddit or like any of the Team Liquid match Reddits, and it was just everyone like shit talking Impact when like no more than a year ago everyone was calling him the GOAT.
What about in this year on the first split? This is obviously come on because then he changed it to like split 1 or whatever. So split 1, everyone remembers that one, right? If people, this is the one where it feels to me like for most of the split, you guys were like good, but it was like no one's sure our FlyQuest ability, and at the end you just took over and you won the split, but you didn't play FlyQuest. What did you think of this win? Were you actually the best team over split 1?
I think so. I think with the way we played, like that finals week, because it was like back-to-back games, I think that specific week we were the best team. I think we had like a little bit of like the T1 phenomenon, where like they come into Worlds and suddenly they're the best team. I think over the course of the split, we weren't the best team. It was just that specific week we were, in my opinion, much better than everyone else. Like, of course, 100 Thieves was in the finals instead of FlyQuest, but 100 Thieves still beat FlyQuest.
Sure.
You know, they 2-1 them. And then we 3-0 them. Like, we didn't even drop a game to them. So I think we were by far the best team that split. Like, everyone's going to meme on it because, like, no FlyQuest, or it was like a Mickey Mouse split, or however you want to put it, but I still consider it like it's still a proud moment of mine.
Obviously, the main problem with that one was you didn't get to play FlyQuest in the final, right? People might remember that was also the split where Whippo just started carrying the whole league with all the fucking drama he was just generating all the time. So if people remember, that was where he was doing all that mad shit, like telling people after he beat them, like he'd give them private lessons if they DM'd him or something, man, like, okay. And talk about how, like, you know, everyone else in the league has to, like, step up so that they have someone to practice or whatever. So obviously, to me, that made it a bit of a meme when they lost. But what I want to ask is this: was that justified? Like, in scrims, were they the best team? Do you think, aside from, like, essentially, should they have been in the final playing against you?
I mean, they were definitely one of the best teams, but I don't think they should have been in the finals. Like, you know, they didn't get unlucky. They didn't, like, you know, at the end of the day, they lost. And, like, that's all that matters. You know, like, if, you know, people want to cope with that, like how they're so good at Worlds potentially, or like they're so good this year. But, you know, in my opinion, they lost fair and square. 100 Thieves didn't like cheese a win or like cheat a win or anything. That's just like how it went, and you know, they didn't show up in the finals. They didn't win.
What about when you went to first stand? Because the bizarre thing for Team Liquid is it started awesome. You guys beat KC and everyone's like, holy fuck, maybe it's... Because remember, it was that silly format where only one team gets eliminated. So that made it look like, hey, this could be fucking good. Like, how do you explain first stand?
And we just got ahead of ourselves, honestly. Like, I think a few things were rough. Like, we weren't doing like boot camp or anything, and like you can blame a whole bunch of other factors. But I think like at the end of the day is, you know, once we beat KC, we're like, oh, we're gonna make top 4 anyways. And not that we didn't try hard or anything, because of course we try hard. But it was like a relief almost off our back. You know, you didn't need that little edge that every player has to go like a little bit further. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, we don't make top 4, we don't make the playoffs if we don't beat HLE. And it's like, well, fuck, that's a pretty hard task. You know, even if they were like troll picking or however people want to say it. You know, HLE is still like, at that tournament, they were still the best team that was in the tournament.
And you guys did win a game off them still.
Yeah.
What about what happened in summer then? Because obviously the last split was the worst one by all metrics, pretty much, and they didn't turn around towards it. So give me some thoughts on this. What happened? What went wrong?
I mean, just everything. Like, I think it was just a culmination of everything. Like, people underperforming, but then like our team atmosphere was just very shit towards each other. Like I said a little bit before, like how Impact's like very blunt person, but then Spawn's also a very blunt person, and I'm a very blunt person, and then Jan's a very blunt person.
Where's the positivity coming from? I see where you're going.
Yeah, literally, that's what I mean. Like,
right.
It was so much just like harsh feedback, and then like people underperforming, harsh feedback, people underperforming, you know, endless cycle, to the point where like no one's enjoying anything, no one's enjoying scrims. Like, we're losing on stage to like, honestly, it's like just terrible reasons we're losing on stage. You know, like people just having a shit game or whatever, and then that's like making people lose trust. And then like, I'm not sure how much you know about this, but like there was like potentially like roster changes for like, of course, like course you know about, like with UG, but like there was roster changes for like mid as well potentially.
Oh wow, okay.
And they couldn't find anyone, but they're even looking for top lane. So like they were really like trying to change anything.
Oh, do you think they actually would have benched you if they'd have found a candidate?
Oh, for sure. Like I think like it was just like too last minute. You know, they couldn't find like they didn't have a slot for like any import or anything, and they it was literally just too last minute. I think if they would have, same thing for like top lane or jungle. Like of course UG came in, but that was more so UG coming in because UmTi was like leaving on his own regard rather than like anything else. So yeah.
In that case, that preempts what I was going to ask now, which is, in that case, you must already have been aware that there's a world where at the end of the year you're not in Team Liquid, right? Or they tell you your services are no longer quite, however politely they've phrased it. Could you sort of see the writing on the wall then?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, you know, Team Liquid as a team, like we are expecting to win everything, like especially after last year and even like the start of this year. And then you go in, even last split we're like 5th, 6th, and then this split we're even worse somehow. It's like, you know, you got to imagine there's a gun pointed at your head somewhere.
Right, this is actually why I did ask you, do you want to do this when you know what team you're on or not? But whatever, we're going to do it now. It's all good, right? Right now, is it just completely uncertain? You're just going to see in this off-season what offers there are? Look, I'm good. Here's the thing. Maybe I'm being presumptive here. I assume there must be LCS spots that are going to be available. Surely at least one team in the league wants someone who was a year ago the all-pro mid laner and has been a champion of the league a bunch of times. And I'm assuming that like you are going to get on a team, but is there any, should APA fans be worried? Are you just going to be on any team? Do you think the top dogs are coming? Where's your head at right now in terms of where you are and your market value?
Well, I think I will find a team, but it just honestly depends on who right now. But like every team I talk to, because I've even talked to LEC teams, and like I'm not scared about going to LEC or anything. Like, you know, I just want to, you know, I'm a competitor at heart. I want to compete. Whoever like the best team that'll like source that, I'll try to go there. And like every team I talk to is just like, we're kind of interested, but we're also probably going to look for a Korean mid. We're kind of interested, we're going to look for Korean mid. And then, you know, after like the 10th team you talk to saying that, it's like, well, fuck, man, how many Korean mids are we finding here? You know, there's only a finite amount of them. So, like, you know, so I think at the end of the day, like, it's still like a pretty slow off season. And like, I don't know where I'm going. But I think I'm going to find a team. It just depends where. I don't know if it's going to be a top team or if they're going to try to fill one of those top teams with a Korean mid, or, you know, might have to be bottom team. It honestly just depends. Like, yeah.
By the way, at this point in time, maybe it was true when you came in, at fair play if I admit it, but like, it's not like you are just a 3-trick anymore. Like, look, we just talked about, you had like a Syndra game, he's a fucking Xiaohu, like one of the all-time great players. If you put, again, for all the memes, you could play an Orianna. People have seen you do that before. If you played, you even had the Cassiopeia in your pocket at times. You've got a way bigger champion pool now, right?
Oh, for sure. Like, I think, like, you know, there's no secret that like certain things I lack. Like, if you go look at the GOL Team Liquid, and you'll see like ban rate, you'll probably see Yone at like an incredibly high ban rate. Like, there's no secret there's like a couple champs, but I think the whole thing of, you know, me not being able to play anything is just, you know, myth. Like, if you're, you know, think about it from my perspective. You're on a struggling team. If you're not really winning scrims, you're going to a stage. Like, what are you going to trust yourself on? You're going to trust yourself on your best pick, you know, Ziggs or Tally or whatever. Or you're going to put yourself on, you know, a champ that you're okay at, but that's like strong, you know, the Azir or Rise, or I'm kind of forgetting the meta. But like, you know, things like that. And of course, like, you know, I trust myself. Like I said, I'm a confident person. I'm going to put myself on Ziggs and try to go from there. And then it just wasn't working out the split. So people were like going like too overboard with like the champion pool stuff. I was just like, I don't know. I think it's way overblown, but that's just how perspectives are.
I've got a question for you that goes like this. I don't know if you remember this era, because maybe it was slightly before your time, but when the Italian mid laner Jizuki used to play in Evil Geniuses back in the LCS, the famous thing went that people used to actually like start like mute him and turn off the fucking chat, because he would also just like type shit to people during the game, and he was like a mad troll. So it was actually fucking tilted like real pro player. What is that like? Have you got a similar vibe? Because it feels like. I think the thing, there's plenty of people trash talk, but I feel like when you do it, it just gets under people's skin a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I think as of right now, it's not as effective, simply just because literally everyone's like one of the stats guy from like LCS, he like showed me a screenshot of this one day, and it was like, how many people have you blocked? Because you can just block people in the tournament. It's like over 80% of the LCS players within the league just have me blocked, so they can't see me emote, can't see me type, can't see me do anything. So it's always like this year, especially in scrims, it's always been a thing where if it's like a pause for whatever reason in scrims, and, someone has to run to the bathroom, whatever, it doesn't matter. I can't be the person who types ready whenever we're
because no one will see it, right?
No one's gonna see it,
right?
So it has to be someone else.
Because here's the thing, normally, for a trash talker, you actually aren't that like, malevolent. You never say any evil shit about people, but you're just a master of what, if people aren't English, it's called the needle. It's like what you say in poker when you're like, nice hand when the guy fucked it up or whatever, and should have caught. Yeah. You're just really good at that. Something about it just sets people off, right? Just
like a little bit of getting under their skin, and then, like beating them, getting under their skin, beating them, getting under their skin, and then all of a sudden, I'm just in their head.
Because I would give the contrast is when Jojopyun did trash talk. First of all, his was just really straightforward trash talk. It would just be like, you suck and I'm going to dumpster you in the game or whatever. But also, because in real life, he's just got fucking riz, hasn't he? He just seems like he's fucking good looking guy. He's fucking just cool. So everyone just goes, it's just Jojo, it's fine. I feel like people actually get annoyed. Put it this way, people who aren't fans of Team Liquid hate you, bro. They're like, whenever you trash talk, they hate you guts so bad. Do you feel like people get the humour? Do they get the that you just fucking around? Because like I said, I'm not wrong. I don't feel like you've ever been actually like rude to people. You're just fucking with them a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever like gone over the line and like typed anything like, this is why your girlfriend did this, or this is why your mom, like nothing like anything like that. It was just like, you fucking lost to me. It was just like small stuff that you'll see in like any game of League, any game of solo queue.
By the way, obviously, even if people don't know, even people who never trash talk in esports, if they open their Twitter and they lose a game or they say something people don't like, everyone gets like that notifications 99 and all the fucking insane comments. But you must be getting it 10 times more when you've done all the tweets. So like, I bet you ain't got any good stories. You must have some crazy. Bro, haven't you done the jokes where you can imply you'll beat Faker or whatever? Like, you've done the classics, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean. I get so much hate. I'm like genuinely so desensitized to it. Like I think I just in general, as a person, I have thick skin. But like, I always find it funny. Like whenever I'm going through like Twitter DMs and people say that like I should like die or whatever because I lost them this game, or like I'm the reason for like this, or I always find that shit hilarious. I don't particularly care, but like I always even like. I'm at a dinner with the team and then Core and his wife. And we won a game, but we won like 2-1 in a series. It was like, I think last year during the regular season. And someone was really upset at me for losing their bet, I think it was, in one of the games. And I'm like reading it, I'm like laughing at my phone. And Core asked me what it is, so I show him. And it's just like the hate message, the common hate message, like you should die, blah, blah, blah. But it's in Korean, so like that's why I was showing it.
Oh, right, okay.
And then, like Core shows it to his wife, and his wife's just like, like gasping at like what this person would say to me, and I was just laughing at it. So I'm definitely just so desensitized to like that level of hate. Like I don't even care anymore.
By the way, though, that's actually one thing I'll give you props for, though. A lot of people like to try, like, put it this way, trash talking for some people is like that meme, like, haha, this is great, I'm sowing, and they're like, what the fuck, I'm reaping now, this sucks. Like, I think a lot of people like trash talking, but they hate it when they get any back themselves. I feel like you take it really well. Like, put it this way, on Twitter, I've definitely flamed you. It didn't seem like you held it against me or anything. We're doing this interview, it's all cool.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, like, whether it's like you or like a Twitter random with a burner account, like, I don't particularly care what anyone says about me. if it's not like my teammates or myself thinking it, fucking who cares?
I think that's a pretty healthy mindset. So, though, because I actually do feel like there are players where, like, if I was the coach of certain players, I would just ban them being on social media. I'd be like, you better get off that phone. If you open that phone, your whole mental's just going to boom when you see all those comments. It gets to some players, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like some players, if you win a game, you go on Reddit, like people are glazing them, and they have a big ego, and then the next week people are flaming them on Reddit for losing a game, like they're down in the dumpster. I mean, I personally still have like Reddit and all that stuff during season as well, but like even if I do check Twitter, and it's like the death threats in my DMs or anything, like I said, I have pretty thick skin, especially with that type of stuff.
Also, I actually think, like from an outside perspective, I think it's actually helped your career and your brand. Look, it does mean in the early days, if you'd actually shit the bed and lost all those Zig games, you'd never play the LCS again. Like everyone would be like, you trash talked and you sucked, you'd be gone. But I think the fact that you then won championships and were good, and that you actually trash talked and sometimes beat those people and were better than them, I think that made your brand bigger.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like, I definitely have my fair share of haters, but like, you compare me to a bunch of other like LCS players when they like tweet or stream or like anything like that. I definitely have like a fairly sized fan base. Nothing like the size Bjergsen and Doublelift or like all those guys were getting back in the day, but to like current LCS standards, pretty solid.
That's actually interesting also that you said you are open potentially to doing like an LEC move, because it's not just the idea of like, can you go and there's more teams there, maybe you can be competitive, and actually in the modern day the money's not even that much different either. But I think the bigger issue that a lot of people aren't taking on board is you get to live in LA if you're playing the LTA/LCS. Like you have to go to fucking rainy Berlin, mate, and then figure all that out and be in another country. And again, it's not always speaking English in every scenario. Like if you go to Berlin, I think it's like trickier to get around and stuff. But you're open to the adventure if the right move was there, or would you would take the challenge?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'll just be completely honest with you, especially during season. All I do is play League.
All right, okay.
I come into the office at like 10 a.m. I'm leaving at like 1 a.m. So I'm at the office for like 15 hours a day. I go home, shower, maybe eat a little bit of food, go to sleep, and then do it all over the next day. Like I don't really explore LA. I don't really do much. Like I've lived here for 3 years now under Team Liquid, and the things I've done, I can count in like my hands.
Right. Okay.
Like I'm 20 minutes from the beach. I've been to the beach like I think like 3 times in 3 years.
Right.
The most exciting things I've done is like gone to the movies. Like I don't really go out. All I do is play League. Even during the off season now, like I'm completely griefing my sleep schedule to watch Worlds, even though Worlds is in China. And then I'm playing solo queue when I'm not watching Worlds, and if I'm not doing that, I'm probably sleeping.
By the way,
I don't particularly care where I live.
Are you someone then who just genuinely loves League the game, or is it a drive to compete, or what? Because I know actually a lot of people, I mean, it might sound ironic to a fan, but I know some people, mate, that once they became a pro, then it sucked to have to play a solo queue. Then they felt like it was hard work or a chore, or I'll do it just to be good, but they felt like they were forced to do it. You actually just like to do it? You enjoy playing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I fucking love League, and then I'm also just a competitor throughout my entire life. I love competing, so it's just like genuinely such a privilege to be able to do what I do. Like so many people like dream of being an LCS pro, so many people dream of being an LEC pro, whatever it is. And then like I'm one of the few people that get to do that. I definitely shouldn't take that for granted. I play a computer game at the highest like tier anyone can. Like this shit's fucking fun, when I'm on stage playing you in front of the LCS crowd, or if it's like any type of crowd, I'm having so much fun.
I want to get your take on this, because I also feel like, as much as it might be scary that you're not going to be in Team Liquid, and obviously you've been with Spawn for all these years, it's also a chance, though, if you go elsewhere to like prove your own sort of legacy more legit, because that way then people can't use those excuses. They can't be like, well, his job was just play these 3 champions. Oh, he had Core, JJ, and Impact. You'll be out on your own with some other squad. There's a chance to reinvent yourself, maybe.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, regardless of whatever team I end up on, like, a few teams I've told you, I've literally just been like, I can't fucking wait to face Team Liquid. I can't fucking wait to, like, try and beat these guys, because, like, like, at the end of the day, I get it. It's like a sport. Like, you gotta, try your best to win, and, management doesn't think I'm the best. But, like, I'm still confident in myself. Like, I'm not gonna say fuck Team Liquid, because I really like them as an org, I'm even here right now in the Team Liquid office.
Sure.
But like, I can't wait to play them in a match and beat them, and get to Twitter or get to chat or anything, or
Also, one thing I'll say, you give me your thoughts, is as much as people might like to diminish your career or make it like you're only good at this, that, or you had these teammates, blah, blah, at the end of the day, you do play mid lane. Like, mid lane's never been like the fifth most important role in the game. It's usually the most important, or like at worst, like, I don't know, second most important. It's a pretty important position to play. So if you win championships playing that role, you have to have been good in some contexts.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you remember back to spring last year, like, I won the final. I was in the running for MVP last summer split. Like you said, I got first team All Pro. Like I said, I still think I'm fucking good. Like a couple rough splits, like on a sinking ship of a team. Like honestly, to me, it doesn't define me. Like sure, there's like what if moments, like we were talking about last year's Worlds, but if you don't look at those what if moments and you just look at the lane, like I'm beating Xiaohu in lane, I'm beating Scout in lane, I'm, like having respectable performances in scrims. Like I'm still confident in myself, and that's just how it is.
By the way, the actual list of mid laners you've played is pretty cracked. Like you got all those, you got Zeka, you got a whole bunch. Is there anyone that you still haven't faced that you're really looking forward to? Who would you like to face in the mid lane?
I still haven't got to face Caps.
Oh, okay.
Surprisingly,
yeah.
Like I've got to face like a bunch of the Eastern teams goats, but yeah, Caps and Knight are the two I've like two prominent players I haven't got to face yet.
Is Knight one of your favourite players or something? You mentioned him a few times. Is he something you vibe with? Do you like him?
Yeah, I mean, like he was one of the few players that I felt like I watched a lot, like before I went pro, because I would I'd go to like every region, watch like probably the best players in every region. Faker from LCK, Knight from LPL, Caps from EU. And yeah, it's just like, these are like my, not childhood goats, but, like the goats to the people I looked up to when I was becoming a pro. So it's always something I've looked forward to. And of course, I haven't had the pleasure of doing so, but, maybe next year if I can get onto a good team, make Worlds, make MSI, make First Stand, wherever it is, and get to face these guys, I'd love to.
Is there an Asian player? This is a hard question, but it's just a fun one to ask. Is there an Asian player in mid lane that you think is comparable to you? Is there someone who has a style that you fuck with, or they seem like they vibe with the game like you do?
I don't actually know. Of course, I watch a lot of the league, but like a lot of the league seems just like it's Chovy and Faker, and then everyone trying to copy them. Or
sure.
Like it's, like maybe including like BDD and Zeka, like the other really talented players. So I've never really thought about it.
By the way, are you someone in your team? This is the other thing I was going to ask, but I've saved it till now. If at one point at the beginning in Team Liquid they just spoke Korean and you sat there like, okay, I guess I'll go Baron, and then later on, like you have Core JJ as well, who people think of as like a mastermind, etc. Have you had a chance to have like input into the shot calling and the comms and stuff? Is that something you've grown into over your time?
When UmTi left the team and UG came onto the team, I started to get like a more shot calling perspective of the team, just because like of course coming from like UmTi, who's also an insane veteran of the game, to going from UG, who's just like this is his first split on the team. First one, any tier 1 team. Definitely a pretty sizable difference. So, I had to change some roles within like myself and the team to like try and do better.
By the way, since on camera, like I said about the trash talk, it doesn't seem like it ever phases you, mate. It never seems like there's ever a bounce back. If someone trash talks you back or they beat you in the game, you always seems that you keep your spirits up. Are you someone? Do you take the losses hard? Like if you go out at Worlds, if you lost the LCS Summer Final off camera, does it hit harder than people realise?
Oh, of course. I mean, like, at the end of the day, League is my life. Like I was telling you earlier, I put so much time into the game. Even now in the off season when I don't have a team, I put so much time into the game. League is definitely my life. So when you lose, it's like the best way I've described it to other people. It's literally just like there's something missing in your life, and like of course that missing is just literally competing. Like there's always like the next step of competing, the next step, and then when you win, it feels insane. But then there's the next step, and then when you lose, especially so early, because I've been off season for like 2 months now. By this point, it's like fuck, man, I'm endlessly bored. I've like so much time, and I don't know what to do basically.
Are you someone who thinks of being a pro as like you have to do a certain level of practice to maintain your level, or you have to be at a certain grade? Are you someone? Do you really believe like you're always improving? Are you always going up in knowledge of the game, conception of the game? Do you feel like you make progress?
Sometimes, but I think it's also if you don't play the game enough, you literally just get worse.
Right.
Like, I don't think League's a game where it's not like riding a bike. You know, if you don't play League for even just like a week, you come back and you're just dog shit. Honestly, you got to play a lot of this game just to stay good. And like, of course, when you look at like what's his name, Tabe from AL, talking about how their scrim schedules are and their practice environments, it's like, oh yeah, we wake up, we scrim, and then we have an hour break, which they normally sleep because they're sleep deprived, and then they scrim, and then they play solo queue, and then if we want to break, I'll take them on a walk for an hour, but then that's actually their break is the walk, so then they have to go straight into solo queue again, and then they'll sleep, and then they'll wake up and do it over again the next day. I think you got to play a lot of this game. Just not even just to get better, but just not make yourself get worse.
Because, by the way, I get it's also sort of like a modern American trend to always say all those things like, well, we really care about mental health and, we've got to have work-life balance. That I always tell people, though, because I have friends who are coaches, I say, that sounds great in an interview, but then if you know all the LPL and LCK teams just grind themselves to oblivion and they're way better, it's hard to argue against that. You know what I mean? Like I don't know about the players in your team who were Korean, but I know stories of Koreans where, like you're saying, like you finish the scrim day and they just play solo queue for like 5 more hours, mate. And it feels like they never stop playing. If anything, actually what you're saying there is, even though it's a dark thought, is kind of true. They will sacrifice sleep to play the game more. Like these guys just want to get the max amount of games, even if it's solo queue, games in a day. And even though I get the idea that conceptually, I know the Westerners right. In theory, we should all have balance. And if we could do it smarter, not hard, it all sounds great, but it's hard to beat just grinding the game, right? Just putting in mass hours.
Yeah, I mean, like, how do I say it? In my opinion, to be the best in literally anything you want to be, you have to love it, and you have to be able to do, or like put as much time as you can. Like that's always the philosophy I've held with like anything I've ever done that I thought I could do, and literally just be a masochist with it. I'm playing League for 16 hours a day in the off season, so I'm sure you can only imagine what's like during the season where, sometimes I'm going to bed at, maybe like 2, 3 a.m. just because I'm either watching LCK or playing solo queue or whatever it is. Like, I think genuinely to be the best, you have to live the game. You can't do anything else.
Back in the day, I actually knew a European StarCraft 2 player who did something similar. He basically heard what the training regimen was of the Korean players, and he just made himself play that many games per day, no matter what, whether he felt like it or not, whether it was like when he had to stay up 3 extra hours. He just did it. And he actually told me that like it takes you, he literally said at one point he was just having dreams of like playing StarCraft and stuff when he would go to sleep. Have you ever anything mad like that?
Yeah, of course. Like, I mean, literally the past week, because Worlds is in China, I've like stayed up, watched Worlds. It's 4, 5, 6 a.m. whenever the series ends. Played solo queue for probably like 2 hours until 2 slide. Go to sleep and literally just dream about the game. I would like literally think about the game in like my dream state. just dreaming about League, not even anything. Just League, literally just League.
Thing is, though, if someone's like just a casual fan, maybe they've never done anything in life APA where they were actually excellent at it and they gave everything to it. Like, in a weird sense, this is why when I hear those stories about the pros that are like, I became pro and then I had to like make myself, I was like, mate, I don't think it's for you, because the people I know, like, it's addictive to be really good at something, right? To be really in tune with something and feel like you're at a high level. You don't want to let that go, right?
Yeah, of course not. Like I mean, I've said it a few times, League is my life. Like, there's no backup plan for me. If I don't end up getting a team, it's like I'm not planning for that right now. It's gonna be a fuck, this happened, what the fuck am I gonna do moment rather than anything else. Like I said, I think you just have to live this game. Any of the greats of everything. You look at Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant for basketball. and you think about how they played the game and how much they played the game, it's like, holy fuck, these guys were just masochists. And then you hear about like every Eastern team basically, and they're all like, wake up, scrim, break, solo queue, sleep, repeat. And, they're all the best players in the world, or they're some of the best players in the world. You just gotta... You have to do it, literally. There's no other way. Like, if I want to be a player in 3 years or 5 years or whatever it is, like, I literally have to do this, and if I can't do that, like, you won't see me in 2 years.
But obviously, I am hoping this isn't the last interview you ever do. This isn't the end of your career. So I'll ask you this question. Since we've done the framing of who you were when you came at the beginning and people thinking you just play this champion, you're just this person. If in 3 years from now, you're still a top pro in whatever region and you've had success, how would you want people to remember your career? Who should APA, what would you want to represent at that point in your career?
Just grit, honestly. Like, whatever it is, like, started on a cool Korean speaking roster, changing rosters a couple years later, and then hopefully still staying at the top. Like, literally just grit to stay at the top. Like I said, I love this game, and I want to keep playing this game for as long as I can. Honestly, just like the biggest takeaway for like myself, if I were to go forward like 5 years and look back at it, just like, if I can maintain this grit, I know I can be fine.
Okay, at the end of this interview, do you have any final message? Maybe you said it there. Do you want to thank anyone or say hello to anyone?
I mean, just thanks to all the fans. And also it kind of fuels me a little bit when I get some hate messages, so thanks to all the haters as well. Like, I always kind of find it funny, and, it's something to look forward to. And, yeah, like I just said a minute ago, hopefully you guys keep seeing me for the next however many years.
Now, you never catch me dolo online because I'm rolling deep and we dem boys. Who am I talking about? The Illuminati. So this video and the content on my channel is kindly supported by Matt Pugnaccio Racula, Toucan, Jensen Gore, Nikki, Jason, you know who my second in command is, Jerky's Minion. Do you want to suggest a topic or a guest for some of my content? Would you like to ask me a question in an AMA? Do you want to take part in one of those lengthy discussions where you get to set the topic? Maybe you want to see who upcoming guests are in my interviews and on my talk shows. Well, all of these perks and more are available to you if you put your money where your mouth is and join the Illuminati today. How? Via the Patreon link in the description box below. You dig?